Hey, HTDA, and today we're taking a look at Extinction Day, and specifically the demo for that game, which is really a problem because I've been playing this demo, having way too much fun with it, and now I really want to play the actual game, but unfortunately it is not coming out until later this year. However, if you're into games like Plague Inc., where you're kind of setting out to destroy the world and having fun doing so, then this game will probably be right up your alley. In this game you play through a couple of different chapters, each have several levels, and in those levels you get more and more disasters which you can unleash upon the world to destroy it. Now these disasters are shown over here, so there's storms, tornadoes, there's diseases, asteroid impacts, warfare, nuclear strike, zombie outbreaks, etc, etc. Most of these are actually currently locked because it's the demo. You only have the first 4 available actually, even though it seems to be that it's 5. And as you can see, there's these nifty upgrade buttons as well that you can use to customize them. Unfortunately, again, they are not in the demo, but even without those, you can have a lot of fun. There's going to be perks in the game as well that allow you to take different ways to destroy the world, I assume. But let me just show you the game and what it looks like when we're playing it. I am going to go for the most advanced level in the demo. I think I can take on a little bit of a harder mode now. The normal mode went pretty easy. We'll have access to 4 different disasters for the moment, and we are going to have to use those to destroy the world. This is the main screen of the game that you'll be looking at most of the time, and let me walk through what you're seeing. So you can see the entire world, you can scroll around it, you can see the population on those worlds. Look at those people running around. There's a lot of people in Europe apparently. Let's kill the entire Netherlands while we're at it. That's where I live, by the way, in case you hadn't noticed. And that is the kind of the outset of the game. You see several locations in the game as well. There's other locations in between, which are these little flags over here that are nations and things like that as well. We have parts of the world that are kind of tied together that we want to destroy. And we have several different types of currency. So we have these skulls over here, which we will going to use to upgrade our disasters. We have influence over here, which we can use to give ourselves different perks. And then last but not least, we have corruption, which we can use to kind of counteract what the humans are going to do to stop our disasters from destroying the world. Again, if you're familiar with games like Plague Inc., it feels a lot like that, but the game is definitely original. It has different mechanics, and but it has the same feel to it, so it's a good thing, but original enough not just to be a clone. There are 2 types of disasters that we can unleash upon the world. First of all, we have passive disasters. We have sicknesses and storms at the moment. Those 2 options are the only ones we can pick in the demo. And these are going to cost some of those skulls to unlock. I think it's souls or something that they're called. I'm going to go for the disease, and I'm going to get all my people in my neck of the woods, as they say, sick. As you can see, there's these souls as well on these different nodes. So we want to start somewhere where there's plenty of people to kill, because as we are killing off people, we'll get resources to upgrade our disasters and make them even stronger. This is going to deploy it. You can see that bar increasing over here. We can enhance these things by placing different attributes to here. For example, we can decide to increase the souls by 20%. We can increase the expand speed. All of this is going to be very useful towards making ourselves stronger. Now, going back to the disasters for a moment, as you can see, I've now unlocked one of my disasters over here. They come with their own technology tree, so we can give them all various kinds of upgrades. For example, I can make sure that they get more energy. I'll get back to that in a moment. Do more damage, etc, etc. Pretty much the things that you would expect, but this is different for every different disaster. We can unlock different disasters now as well, so I could also, for example, unlock the storm, but I do need some more resources for that. At the same time, we also have active disasters, for example, the asteroid impact and the tornado, which are going to cost, again, souls to unlock, but once we have them, we can place them on the map wherever we want, and so long as you generate enough energy to do so, you can just spam them and kind of use these to clear out specific areas of the map where you're almost done but not quite, or if you just to speed up the areas that you want to clear faster. Now, back to the map. As you can see, the people are slightly turning yellow now. That means that they are either damaged or infected in this case, and you can see this spreading around the world. We want this to spread as far as we can, because once it's spread far out enough, we can actually spread this disaster to different neighboring areas as well, thereby increasing the amount of resources we get. Speaking of resources, the first upgrade I want to get for the outbreak is the, the symptoms increase over here, which is going to increase the souls in all of our regions by 50%. Obviously, the earlier you pick this up, the more value it's going to provide. It is a very expensive upgrade compared to some of the others that just cost, for example, 6. This one is 18, so it's going to take a little bit of waiting to pick this up. But once we do, we get 50% more souls in every single region where we have this going on. That's just a matter of waiting, but you can speed up the time, and which is always very useful in these games. So, especially early on, you kind of want to play at max speed, but as things get more hectic and you need to be more active towards things, you're definitely going to want to slow down the game again. And you can just entirely pause it if you, well, either need a toilet break or have something else you need to focus on for a moment. We're also going to get these resource drops, again, very familiar if you are playing games like Plague Inc. In this case, we can pick between different resources, and you can actually see the game almost coming to a halt once we click one of these and have to make a decision. For the moment, I am going to go with souls because I want to start upgrading my disasters very quickly, but you're going to need a lot of influence as well, so this is really a choice and something you can strategize around. Okay, we just got the notification that our outbreak has crossed the expanse over here. And is now also present in, where is this? Is it Iceland? Does it actually tell me what area this is? That's Iceland, right? I'm going to be yelled at in the comments if this is wrong. Anyway, this is going to be spreading, and you can see what this area is connected to. So now, for example, if I would want to, I could decide to spread my disease to New York. Now, I'm actually going to do that because having this in different continents sounds very useful to me. You do need to keep an eye on your energy because you need this energy to sustain your outbreak. So right now I'm using 9 out of 15 energy. This is going to cost me 5 per week to expand it to New York, which would bring me up to 14. So that is perfect. And that is going to allow me to keep spreading even further and get more resources going. The influence that I just mentioned is something you could definitely use as well. So for example, I could say, okay, I have a lot of influence in this place already, or a lot of souls, I mean. If I place down a resource boost over here, this is going to increase the amount of souls I have even further, thereby making it even more powerful that I've started in a high souls area. There's also these other technologies that you can pick up with your influence. Now, for example, I could increase the resource boost effect by another 10%, which makes it go from that 20 to 30 actually, so not just 10% additional, but a flat 10% boost on top of what you already have. However, I'm going to go for the alertness speed over here. This is going to make sure that people are not that aware that disasters are happening around them, and that will just give me a little bit more time to spread around the planet before I start dealing real damage. The game is really good at giving you subtle ways of knowing what is going on your screen. So for example, the alertness that I was talking about, you can see that right over here. If you click on the zone, you can actually see what is going on over here as well. You can see the deaths that are going on. We haven't really killed anyone yet. We have harmed a lot of people. As soon as you start killing people, the alertness will rise really quickly, and you can also see the expansion rate going on. You can also see that this is a coastal and cold area, so that is important if you want to get upgrades that specifically deal with those things, because that is going to be vital to speeding your progress up or dealing with particularly hard to reach areas later on in the game. Okay, so I got my 18 souls and I picked up the symptoms increase over here, which is going to boost my souls by 50%. And then after that, I might go for the middle upgrades over here. This is going to increase the damage. That is a little bit unfortunate because that's going to kill more people. But I can also make sure that I can increase the attack size by 150 kilometers. That is basically going to increase the area of effect, making it easier to affect a lot of people, making it easier to spread to other countries as well. And would you look at that, 78 souls available in this region already. We have 37 over here now. Do I go for more souls? No, I actually think I'm gonna go for more influence because we should have plenty of souls coming in now. And I just spent all of my influence, but what we could actually do, if I go to this zone over here, it's costing me 9 energy per week to maintain this over here. But what I could do is decrease the energy cost by 20%, so that should be 2. That brings it down to about 12 consumed. And let me pause for a moment. If I check the neighboring areas that I could infect, this is going to cost me 8 per week, which is quite a bit. Can we spread to anywhere else at the moment? Not yet. We'll have to be a little bit patient for that. But we have spread to a new location over here. What is this connected to? Oh, actually, I can spread to over here now. Is it not connected to this? No, no, then we need to spread to this location first. This is kind of a central hub, really. So that would make it very easy to expand to pretty much everywhere else. Let's speed things up a little bit. We have a new resource drop. We just activated one on influence. Let's pick this one up on souls, because I also want to unlock a secondary disaster. We have this area of the world pretty much covered, so I could set, for example, somewhere here in Indonesia or Australia, and maybe even China. Not sure yet. Let's figure that out once we get to it. But yeah, we are spreading. We could spread to Los Angeles, but that is going to cost us 8 energy per week. And we're going to need some more upgrades for that. And in order to get upgrades, we're going to need to harvest ourselves some more souls. Speaking of which, let's unlock the storm. We have enough resources for that now. And I think I am going to place this storm in... Yeah, I think this Saigon area is pretty good. It's a coastal, mostly a coastal thing. And we have a lot of coasts in this area. So let's start deploying our storm. Now, our storm does have a separate energy track as well. So let's see. We're currently spending 10 per week over here. So, ooh, look at that. Humankind have become more vigilant. More and more people are being harmed by disasters and catastrophes. Basically, they're trying to actively work against me from this point on. And this means we'll get countermeasures, which are going to interfere with our own progress. Which, you know, might mean that we need to start killing some people in order to make sure that they can't fight against us. And we can do that by getting the pulmonary attack. That is going to lead towards the severe cough, which is going to increase the attack size. But most importantly, this is going to move over to the airborne mutation, which allows me to expand even further than I already am. However, before that, I think we're going to upgrade the affected people by 25%. You can actually get some of these upgrades several times, so that's something important to note. We can either be more efficient in cold, or we can be more efficient in heat. Since we're mostly in cold areas at the moment, picking up the cold damage might be really effective as well. So I'm gonna consider doing that in a moment. And we just got a pop-up that is going to allow us to get a lot of influence, so I'm definitely going to go for that. Now, I have 14 influence, so let's see, what can I get with that? We could get the bureaucratic inefficiency, make sure that we get less countermeasures. That's never a bad idea. And again, you can upgrade these several times. And I'm actually going to get the global decay speed as well. This is not necessarily a very important thing to get, but it is going to unlock the corruption points over here. I'm just going to pick this up because I know I'm going to need them anyway. The corruption points, like I said, are going to help us fight back against these countermeasures, and we should get the first one popping up relatively soon as this bar fills up, which should be in a moment. I'm playing at the highest speed, and there we go. We have now strict stay-at-home orders. We all remember those, don't we? Anyway, we can overrule that, and there's kind of a mini game involved with that, because you can see this wheel over here. There's currently 2 zones filled out. If I just spin the wheel now and I hit one of these 2 zones, the lockdown is over. People can start spreading their disease again. But if I want to make this a little safer, I could say, well, let's pay 2 more points, which doubles the chance of actually this being effective. And look at that, no more lockdown for you. All of that sickness is great, that's a weird thing to say, but I also want to make sure we start upgrading our storm a little bit. So what we can do is get the atmospheric pressure, which is going to reduce the spread speed by 20%, and that sounds a little bit weird. I don't like this wording, but basically that means that you're going to spread faster, even though it says it reduces the speed. Which is going to be really useful, because this is the thing we place down a lot later, and currently we're still in only that single zone, and we want to make sure we can also start wiping out areas like Mumbai, Shenyang, is that how you pronounce that, Sydney, and so forth. But in order to do that, I am going to need to have a little bit more spread. Speaking of which, now I have some influence. Let's get the disaster containment failure, which is going to increase the passive energy generation. And I also want to pick up the energy efficiency enhancer effect, and that is going to make the energy enhancers more effective. Then if I go to here and I actually employ that energy efficiency, oh, I actually need one more influence for that. This is now going to decrease the daily energy cost by 30%. Now, because I increased the production and will decrease the cost, that means I can spread to another location. Okay, there we go. I now have enough influence, so let's reduce the cost. That should bring it down to, yep, 11. And let's see, what area can I spread to that has a nice 4 per week, maybe? Yeah, why not? Let's spread to South America and have that going as well for us. Now, the nice thing is, as soon as one of the areas is completely cleared out, you will regain the energy cost it costs to maintain your disaster there. So that also means there's kind of an interesting choice. Do you go for the high value zones that have a lot of people in there and take a lot of time to clear out? Or do you go for the smaller zones that are easier to clear out, but also therefore less cost intensive to maintain, and you can spread at more places around the world? Okay, we have another countermeasure being deployed. Now, I don't have enough corruption points because I just spent them. Let's go back in here and let's unlock these corruption points that we now work towards. And I like going for the +4. This is going to make sure I can't do this too often, but it does have a very high chance of working. There's probably some math that I could do to determine whether or not that's the optimal path to take. It's just a demo, I think will be fine, but this game looks a lot simpler and easier than it is. And remember, I'm playing on hard, but there's 2 modes above that still if you want to really challenge yourself. Now, in order to make the energy really efficient, what we can do is first get the RNA resistance. This is going to increase our energy by 1 every cycle. Not entirely sure what a cycle is for the moment. It doesn't seem to be something that goes up really fast anyway. But the DNA efficiency that is unlocked after that is what I'm really after, because this is going to increase the energy efficiency enhancer by 50%. Now, let me get this and then go back to the game. And we should see that, look, we now have 6 energy more to spend, because right now where we have this energy enhancer equipped, we are only using 3 per week anymore. So this is going to free up a lot of power that we can use elsewhere. Now, let's see. You can actually click on the map as well, by the way, in case you were wondering. So you can click here on the map and have the things pop up over here. Now, we should be able to pick this up. This is red, so it's slightly more than what we have available. I do think that is the highest cost zone that we have. Yeah, so what I could do is spend some of my influence that I have on more energy efficiency. Now I'm going to place that here. This still says 30%, so this is one of the things I think needs to be fleshed out before release, but it should be 80% because of the upgrade that we just got. And look at that, it's just plummeted down all the way to 2 per week. So now we can actually spread to another zone. And well, we should probably do that once we have a little bit more influence, maybe. I don't know, I think we can overspend for a little while and then take it from there once we get the influence to pick up another energy efficiency. So 3 more influence to go. We should be able to keep everything running just fine. You can see I'm spending more influence, more energy now than what I'm getting, so this is going to delay the speed of my progress a little bit until I can actually get the energy efficiency back up. However, we now have 6 of that, so let me go back here. It was, yep, and let's pick up that energy efficiency. There we go, and now we're back to 16 out of 18. Which means it's time to start spending some souls, so let's upgrade the severe cough for the extra radius. Then I'm going to go for the airborne mutation to keep spreading as fast as I can, and I'm probably going to pick up some of the damage upgrades. As you can see, I'm pretty much ignoring the storm for the moment, but once we do get the spread around the world and start upping the damage, we'll get a lot of these souls flowing in and we can really quickly catch up. This is one of the tactics that I'm using. There's probably other tactics that you could use as well, and of course, as you get more and more of these disasters added to the game, into the mix, you will probably need to employ different strategies and kind of play around with that, and that is of course I think a lot of fun to do. Oh look, they brought out the Vexans. Now let's make sure that they don't do that, or hopefully we'll make sure that they don't do that. Yeah, now I just failed, so that is 4 of my corruption down the drain. So I'm gonna need to work my way towards another one of these upgrades. I think just upgrading the damage at this point might make a lot of sense. Upgrading the energy production might make sense as well, but I really need more corruption. which means I am going to have to spend 8 influence on just getting those corruption points. And until that point, people are going to be healed. The ability effects will be only at half effect. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not what you want to see. So to make sure that we can kind of punch through that, I'm also going to get the cold efficiency for the moment. That is should help because this is a cold zone. I'm not mistaken, double checking. Yep, I should probably have done that before I actually got the upgrade, but anyway. And that means that I'm just going to have to delay my airborne mutation for a little bit. However, in the meanwhile, I can spread my storm. Now we can get to Mumbai, but that is really expensive and I don't want to spend my influence on that just yet. So I am just going to spread to China over here and start deploying some storms here. The nice thing about that is if you are in an area with the disease, you can hear people coughing, but as you can see in the area where we have the storms, you can actually see the storms, and so there's going to be effects like that for every single type of disaster that you have out in the world. Now we also see some people slowly turning red over here. That means people are starting to die, which is a good thing in a game where you're trying to conquer the world, destroy the world I should say. So let's get the airborne mutation now, and then what should we get next? Maybe the upgrades for the attack size, or what we could also do is get the storm a little bit upgraded. It is already spreading a little bit faster, but what I probably want is just to increase the size and then start making some real damage. Because we can get tornado clusters going on. And this is a new skill. This is going to spawn additional tornadoes, which is similar to the tornadoes you can spawn yourself and just cause a lot of damage in the process. If you go down the other technology tree, we can just upgrade the damage of the storm itself, which is of course also going to be useful. I think we should be able to pick up pretty much every upgrade along the way, assuming that we don't get counteracted too much in the meanwhile. But as you can see, we're now also into Africa, which is awesome. We are going to get some more corruption points, and I am going to make sure that, or at least I'm going to try to make sure that we actually end these vaccinations. Are you kidding me? Well, this is really expensive at this rate. That is 12 corruption down the drain in order to deal with this. But yeah, that's the game, and that's what we have to deal with. Since we're now starting to cough in some areas with hot damage as well, let's go for that upgrade. Then next up, I could also go down this line, which is going to amplify the damage a little bit. But I'm not really sure if this is worth it, to be honest. So I think it's probably better to focus a little bit on these main upgrades. These are just going to upgrade the main thing we're trying to do, other than trying to be kind of clever about things, I suppose you could say that. I was about to say this resource is about to run out, so let's get more influence because we definitely need that as well. We already have a lot of that souls incoming now, so I don't want to increase the area, but I do want to increase the damage. There we go. And how much is this? This is going to cost me 16 to upgrade the attack size. That sounds like it is probably going to be worth it. I was about to say, do we have any countermeasures? No, we don't, but there we go. It, of course, popped up right away. Which direction are we gonna go? We could get the arc progress, but actually we could go in this direction. So the influence control is going to decrease the influence cost against the countermeasures by 1. So that is going to be useful, and we can also pick up some corruption points while we're at it. Once we're there, let's see, how much was that? 6. So actually, I kind of want to pick up this before I get the corruption points, because that should make it easier. But what we can also do now is go in here and do it like... Okay, so it should decrease the influence points spent on trying to get rid of this, but it's not showing me that is actually the case. Let me read this again. So decrease the influence cost to corrupt human countermeasures by 1. The influence cost, but it doesn't cost influence to do that. Now I'm confusing myself. Is there a different way of doing this? I don't think there is. Yeah, not sure if that wording is not correct yet, or if there's something else I'm missing, but oh, we are at max souls, so that is not a good thing. Let's increase the attack size over here. Now we've basically, we actually have this upgrade left, but then we have completely upgraded the main things I want to get for my disease. So it's time maybe to start bringing in some asteroids, because that sounds like a lot of fun as well. Okay, let's see if we can get rid of this. Let's see if we don't get unlucky again. Nope, that went just fine. Now let's spend some more of this influence, and let's make sure that we increase the attack size on our tornadoes and add some tornadoes to the mix while we're at it. We can get the tornadoes to become even bigger, but for now I think I just want my main storm to be bigger. And there we go. How are we doing on energy, by the way? We are doing okay. This area is almost about to be cleared out. This one is doing just fine. So what I kind of want to do... Oh, this one, New York, is almost wiped out as well. So we want to be spreading to Los Angeles pretty soon, I think, in order to make sure we wipe that out. And I can actually queue that up right now. And then once we get some more influence going... should only be 6. Yeah, there we go. I am already at max souls again. It's just flowing in so fast. Let's upgrade damage. And let's increase the coastal damage by 10 as well, because we are doing massive damage to the coast where we are currently located. Yeah, and then I think I'm gonna go for the asteroid impact. Now that is going to cost me 30 souls, so this is a very strong but also very expensive active disaster. But of course I do want to make sure I show that to you. Let's keep getting the influence through this way, because as you can see, I'm drowning in souls at the moment. Oh, just one more, just one more. Okay, let's go. There we are. And now we have some asteroids added to the mix. Now, asteroids will generate energy themselves. Kind of works in a similar way to the passive ones, but you have to actively use them over and over. So what I could do, for example, this area is already almost cleared out. This one is as well. So just as an example of the pure damage this does, I could go and do something like this and have an asteroid crash in here and do a lot of damage. Now this is an unupgraded asteroid because of course this is just a base version, but I can decrease the energy cost by a lot, which is the first thing I'm going to pick up so I can get more of these things. But after that I can increase the attack size by a lot, the attack size by 600 if you have a secondary asteroid coming in. Basically this is going to be carnage all around. And of course all of that carnage going around the world means that people are like, well, maybe we should move to a different world. Millions of people are being killed by disasters and catastrophes, so they're now building an ark. We basically do not want this thing to be completed, because otherwise we kind of lose the game. The main way of stopping this is actually just to make sure that there's no people left in the world to build this thing, because less people means that there's less ways of building an ark. Now, if you look at the progress we've made, we have almost killed half, well, more than half actually, of North America and Europe, but the other regions are still doing pretty fine. But there is of course kind of a ramp-up effect happening once you get going. You can see that I am now spending more energy than I have available, so that is not necessarily what we want to see. Let me see, which area was it that I don't have my energy booster in yet? That was over here, so let's put that in place. That doesn't quite bring it down to the level I was hoping for though. Did we have it here? No, we don't, but I don't have enough influence to upgrade this yet. But I do have a lot of souls which I can use to start upgrading. Let's say my meteor. An attack size of 2,000 kilometers by an impact cloud. Sounds like a really nice thing to have, and increasing the base impact by 100 kilometers is also a very nice thing to have. We could also start adding some of these tornadoes to the mix that we can manually spawn. But we should be getting some energy back in a moment. There we go. Everyone in New York is dead. And that means we are getting that energy back. So we're now operating at full efficiency again. Let's make sure that we don't have the vaccine over here as well. And there we go. So far everything should be under control. I'm a little bit surprised that... oh, I was about to say that Europe is still up and running. That means we now have 5 energy available, which means I think it's time to start spreading to here and make sure we have the energy efficiency in place again, so we're still within our limits. And I really need to spend some more of my souls. So now I have tornadoes up and running. We can just make them very big tornadoes. That sounds like a good idea, and make sure we have a lot of tornadoes. Once I get the soul increase upgrade, there we go. And then the decrease of the energy cost as well. Can I get anything else here? Not yet, but I can now start spawning some tornadoes. So, for example, I can just do a tornado over here. Not sure if there's usually a lot of tornadoes. Oh, actually, that was not a tornado, that was a meteor. But look at that dust cloud. Completely obliterating the world over there. Tornadoes are relatively cheap to pick up, so you can spam those a lot easier than a lot of the other things. Yeah, can we actually decrease the energy cost of our storms a little bit? We do need more influence in order to do that. It will take a moment. As you can see, there's this kind of chaos happening in the world now with all these storms spawning their own tornadoes. I can add some of my own tornadoes to that. Those are going to be stronger than the ones the storms spawn, but still quite powerful, of course. But I can make the ones that the storm spawns even better than they are. We can increase their attack size, for example. We can increase the... This is actually all pretty expensive. Let's move to the actual tornadoes that I spawn myself. Let's increase the maximum energy. Why can't I unlock this? Oh, because I haven't got this one yet. Okay, well, let's increase the damage first then. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. And at this point, like I said, you kind of want to start playing at a lower speed, because otherwise you're just going to miss stuff. And there is so much going on the screen. Yeah, I can actually spread both the storm or the outbreak to this zone now, because we've been spreading here from 2 different angles. I think I'll go for the outbreak. Even with the 80% reduction, this is still going to be a little bit more than we have, probably. How are we doing in the other areas? There's still a little bit of time to go on these areas, but I do want to keep spreading. Yeah, I think we'll just have to wait just a moment. There is another one of these countermeasures. This time around there's a weather watch, because the storms are getting more powerful. Let's make sure we start working towards some more corruption. What angle are we going to pick this time around? Amplified damage, attack size of all abilities is something we could pick, but it is not going to lead to any corruption. We do now have active abilities, so let's start working in this direction, because this is going to reduce the amount of energy we need to spend on, for example, our asteroids, which are now down to only costing 36 while they cost 50 before. So that is quite useful, and let's see if we can decrease that even further. Attack size upgrade, yes please, and a damage increase is going to be really useful as well for the next asteroid that we can cause. Let's see if we can do that a little bit tactical. What I want to do is kind of clear out this zone. Before I do that, you can actually kind of click to see what area this is. So we also need to clear out these people. Maybe we can have a little bit of a tornado in that direction. There we go. And yeah, that is causing major havoc around the world. Now, again, we have a lot of souls coming in. You kind of see what's happening at this point. We're kind of like building towards a kind of a speed race. Look at that, I nearly upgraded my tornadoes now already. But it's a little bit of a speed race, because as soon as this arc is built, people will start leaving, and that is not what we want to see. So I am just going to be spamming my tornadoes. I think mostly in this area. Kind of try and clear out this zone, the rest of Europe basically, in order to make sure that they collapse and cannot work on that arc anymore. And now we are kind of settling in for a nice little victory lap. As you can see, the entire Americas is almost gone already. Let's get some more influence. I also want to keep upgrading if I can. Yep, my big asteroids. Let's make sure that we keep... Everyone in Los Angeles is dead. Oh no. Okay, that is a good thing. That means I have a lot of energy available now. So let's go and spread to the south of America. And that means I think we have the entire continent now affected. So that's nice. Let's make sure we do the same thing over here. We don't even need to employ the countermeasures at the moment, the energy reduction. We can actually do that over here. Let's do that. Because I think that should be enough in order to also deploy over here. Especially since we just had Moscow added to the mix as well. I'm gonna wait for a little bit more influence. There we go. I want 6. I want 6. Well, I first have to spend some souls. Maximum damage by 1000 HP. Yeah, that impact cloud is going to be massive. But I'm mostly looking to spread my outbreak to here. This is going to be more energy than I have. But then by placing the energy efficiency once again, I think we should be fine. Let's upgrade our storm, our meteors. Probably not the most efficient way of doing this, but these are now fully upgraded meteors. And that means we're just going to create havoc in the most well-defended place on the world at the moment. And speaking of those asteroids, let's see what they look like now if we unleash them on this area over here. Look at the dust cloud now, it's massive. You can see the additional impact hits over here as well. Yeah, I think the world is in problems, people. Look at that. There's storms all over the place. There's a whole big area of sickness over there. Yeah, it is awesome. This is one of those, if you wake up some morning and you're like, I kind of hate everything that's happening in the world, you can now take it out on the world. More tornadoes, yes please. What else can we pick up? What else can... Oh, we actually didn't completely upgrade our own tornadoes just yet. Let's make sure we do that. And then let's save up for some more tornadoes. Now, have I actually spread to everywhere in the world? No, I have not. So what can I do over here? I could spread the storm. That is not actually going to work because I don't have enough energy. I don't think that's a big problem, so I am just going to spread here anyway. The main problem is now that I have an issue here. Can I get some more corruption? No, I need 8 influence in order to get that and unlock that. So I'm going to have to be patient for a moment. Gonna speed things up. Storm in Sydney has stopped. That is okay. I will spawn some manual tornadoes over here, wiping out Sydney manually. Oh, we have a lot of upgrades we can get again. Let's make sure we upgrade our hot and dry damage. This is going to be pretty effective, I think, in the areas that we're currently in. Did I pick this up yet? Yes, I did pick it up. That is great. I now have enough influence. Oh, we needed 8, not 6. Let's see. One more? Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There we go. Let's pick up the corruption over here. And let's go to this area and get rid of that. That is going to make sure I don't have that energy problem anymore, at least not as much of it. I am also going to decrease the energy cost of that, I think, as soon as I can. There is a lot of people. Yeah, basically the entire western area is wiped out. I cannot spread to the arc, so I'm not sure what you could be spreading here normally, but you probably need some diseases for that or some abilities that I don't currently have. Let's make sure we cause some havoc in the south of Africa. Look at all those meteors coming in, and that speeds things up quite a bit. Can I spread my outbreaks anywhere else that I'm not currently in yet? No, I can make sure, however, that we're dealing with this. Hopefully. There we go. That should speed things up over there. And are there any upgrades that I'm still missing? Several, actually. So let's make sure we upgrade our crit chances. And as you can see, we've almost cleared out the entire upgrade tree at this point. We are having some energy trouble still, so we can clear out, for example, These areas over here. That should go a long way to making sure. Well, actually, I'm not spending any energy now on look at that, on my sicknesses anymore, because we've cleared everything out in that area. So these are actually the only areas that we still have left. So if we can clear out this zone, Saigon, then we should be able to get the remaining energy going for the last few upgrades. A meteor could help with that. Boom, boom. Really satisfying, I have to say. Okay, some more influence. There we go. The last few upgrades to get for my storms, just to make sure that we're dealing as much damage as we can. Actually, we still need quite a few more souls for that. We are running low on souls. We won't be getting a lot of those upgrades anymore, for the simple reason that we've already gotten most of them. Everyone in Saigon is dead, so that means we are now acting at full energy, I was about to say, and a second later we just won the scenario. I'm not sure if I did actually my task. I needed to do, I think, 250,000 with my meteor strikes, but considering it says task completed, I think we've done that. I wasn't paying attention because I already did the level before. But yeah, really awesome. You get a player level score as well. You get perk points because you're doing that. What you can do with those, I don't know, but I actually already like the game as it is. And I'm looking very much forward to the full version. Let me know in the comments, are these types of games like Plague Inc. and games like this, games that you enjoy as well? I do recognize that killing people, destroying worlds, etc. Has a weird feeling to it sometimes, but if you keep in mind that it's just a game that you're playing and you're not like torturing people or anything like that, you're just killing sprites on a map, I don't see it being any more of problematic than killing random NPCs in an MMO or something like that. But that's just me. Let me know in the comments, because if a lot of people don't enjoy this, and that is important for me to know as well. However, if you're still here, I hope you did enjoy it, and by all means, make sure this game is on your wish list, because it does help the developers. I'm not being sponsored to say that or anything like that, but I do think this is an interesting game, and that way you'll be notified as soon as it comes out. If you're still here, you are awesome, and I do hope to catch you in the next one.